Welcome to the Huntington Way Show, where we help parents navigate the educational maze. I'm your host, Yvonne Strachan, author and founder of InspirationalHomeschooling.com. And today I am here with Kevin McConnell. He is the owner of Pals Chess Club. This show is brought to you by the Huntington Learning Center and Inspirational Homeschooling. You're listening on Power Talk 1040 AM, 98.5 FM, and 95.7 FM. Please like and subscribe to Power Talk 1040 on YouTube. Welcome to the show, Kevin.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
It's great to have you here. Please share your son's incredible medical story.
Okay, so Griffin, uh, Griffin was a normal kiddo by all means that we could tell up into 5. He started having seizures when he was 5, and they got worse and worse, and they put him on cocktails of meds at Children's Hospital, of which didn't help him. And so at the age of 7, he had to undergo 2 brain surgeries. Um, uh, the names I guess don't even really matter, but they were unsuccessful.
Mm.
So the episodes and the epilepsy that he was diagnosed with got worse, to the point where when he was 8, he had to undergo a functional left hemispherectomy, and that's where they completely disconnect one hemisphere of the brain. Griffin at that time was one of only 10 cases in the world where he had what was called cortical dysplasia, thousands of microlesions in one hemisphere of the brain, and Rasmussen syndrome, which is a gradual shrinkage of one hemisphere of the brain. And fortunately, they were in the same hemisphere, or it would have been much worse.
Mm.
So he had to have that hemisphere disconnected so that it wouldn't infect the right hemisphere. And so the collateral damage of that was that he had to learn how to walk and talk and basically do everything he did when he was a newborn all over again at the age of 8. So he was in a wheelchair from 8 until about 10, 10 and a half. He was in extensive series of therapies, physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy. And the really cool thing about Griffin's story, because this actually isn't, the Children's Hospital does about 2 of these surgeries a month now. So it's
Okay.
not as unique as it maybe once was. Griffin was unique in that 1 week after his surgery, when he couldn't talk, when he couldn't move, and he was paralyzed on the right side, he was playing chess in his room with me at the hospital room when we were staying with him. Griffin's been an avid chess player since he was 4, as has his younger brother. And so we feel like a large portion of the transferal of processes and duties from one hemisphere to the other happened because of his chess playing. He's been a competitor since he was 5, and in tournament play. And anyway, he started playing again before he could talk, and he was back out competing when he was still in a wheelchair. And his goal was to become a master, which is every kid's goal if they really love chess, because that's really hard to do. And so Griffin, unfortunately, his younger brother beat him. His younger brother became a national master at 12, which really chapped Griffin, because he really was competitive with his younger brother, and his younger brother kind of raced ahead when Griffin was still learning how to talk again.
Uh-huh.
So Griffin tried even harder and worked harder on his chess. He became an expert when he was 15, actually when he was 13, but he got locked up and he couldn't get to master, which is incredibly difficult to do. There's only about 7 or 8 masters in the state, of which his brother is one of them. So chess.com got a hold of his story when he was an expert trying to become a master, but with only half a brain. They thought it was a cool story, which it is.
It
And
is.
so they did a documentary about him called Griffin's Gambit, which anyone can just Google on YouTube and see. It's a cool story. Back when he was still an expert, striving to become a master. Flash forward 1 year later, he had another brain surgery. They had to go and completely take out the left hemisphere of his brain. That's called a hemispherotomy, because he was having seizures again. And 1 year and a month after that surgery, he made national master. And it was a pretty big news story. He made nationwide news. He was interviewed by a bunch of people that we don't remember now. And so when we had a chance to take over PALS, it was just a perfect transition. Griffin's always wanted to be a chess coach. He knew since he was 8 that's what he wanted to do, and his younger brother as well. So running a chess business just made sense.
Yeah. Wow. What an incredible story. So, how did you get him into chess? Were you a chess
No, not at all.
player?
I hadn't played chess for 30 years. We bought one of those goofy 10 and 1 games that have Chinese checkers and everything else, and had this really terrible chess set. I taught him how to play when he was 4. Um, and here's a true story. When Sullivan was six, so Sullivan followed in Griffin's footsteps. He's 2 years younger. Griffin was 8.5. Sullivan was 6.5. Sullivan started throwing games to me, but he wasn't telling me that he was throwing games. So I thought I was still competitive with him. And at one point, he was just looking really bored. And I'm like, I still beat you like 1 out of 3. And he's like, no, you don't really, Dad. And he had been losing to me on purpose for like 6 months. This was after Griffin wouldn't even play me anymore.
Uh-huh.
So I stopped playing both of them at that point because it was both a very proud moment and a very humbling moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, I taught him how to play. That was it. He wanted to go into competition when he was 5. We drove him to the places he wanted to compete at.
So then, doing the chess, did you also decide then to homeschool at that point, or was it
No, we hadn't. Homeschooling
okay?
for us came after his disability, after his brain surgery. We ran into so many problems with IEPs and with just with the disability aspect of things, with both, not just with Griffin, but with all 3 of our kiddos. But we didn't really know anything about homeschool. I think that's probably everybody's experience,
Yeah.
and we certainly didn't think we were adept or equipped to homeschool at the time. But when things got really bad, we decided it would be better to home. We couldn't do worse.
Yeah.
Well, at that point, not doing that badly about school districts. It's just he wasn't getting the help he needed.
Yeah. And I look at these kids that have disabilities or something that, I have a child that has special needs. She has one X chromosome. And just being able to help them and watch them thrive. I mean, these kids that have those things where things are harder for them, they just seem to really excel. They try harder. And
Yes,
it's just
they do.
so amazing to see and then just to be a part of. And as a parent, just being a big part of holding them up in what they're good at and then training them and walking alongside them is such a blessing, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, how has chess then helped Griffin?
Oh man, and it's helped our whole family in so many ways. But with Griffin, it was instrumental in his language development. Again, it was instrumental in his ability to focus. Um, just so many things. He's basically had a traumatic brain injury, even though it's not diagnosed as that, even though he only has half a brain. But it was, we think, instrumental. Even the doctors were quite amazed at how quickly he progressed, specifically with language.
Wow.
And they think that, and you wouldn't think chess and language are connected, but they actually are very connected because you think when you play chess, and again, I'll let Griffin speak to this because he's the master and I'm not. But when you play chess, you're actually using a lot of descriptive language when you're thinking about the strategies of what you're trying to do or what you're
Mhm.
trying to prevent your opponent from doing. So we think it helped with that definitively. It also we think helped him just overall with ability to read and focus on his schoolwork.
That's great. So then how can chess help other kids?
This is proven. So you don't take my word for it. You can Google this. But the math scores will go up by 20% on kiddos who participate in chess on a weekly basis for a year. And that's been proven in numerous studies. Attention span, abilities to understand consequences of actions. Chess is very consequential. You
Hmm.
make one mistake, you make a decision too quickly, and if your opponent sees it, then they punish you for it, and you feel bad. And so it helps you with patience. It helps you with critical thinking skills. They've done a bunch of studies where it shows that it also helps in creativity as well. You actually have to be quite creative. Chess is not near as math and boring as people think. It's actually some people liken it to an art.
Hmm.
So it's very very good for kids, especially when their brains are still elastic and growing and can consume information.
Yeah, there is a lot of great benefits to chess. Well, when we come back, we're going to go over some more of these benefits. We're going to talk about the Pals Chess Club that Kevin runs. You're listening on Power Talk 1040 AM, 98.5 FM, and 95.7 FM. Welcome back to the Huntington Way Show. You're listening on Power Talk 1040 AM, 98.5 FM, and 95.7 FM. I'm your host, Yvonne Strachan, and I'm here talking with Kevin McConnell, and we're talking about the Pals Chess Club. So, Kevin, tell me more about what the Pals Chess Academy is.
Sure. So, PALS Chess Academy is a before and after school chess enrichment program. We operate out of Golden, Colorado, but we're mostly in the Denver, Boulder areas. Although we have had a school for several years here in Colorado Springs. We run chess programs at 60 plus schools. I think there's 5 or 10 charter, there's 5 or 10 private, and then the rest are public schools. We have anywhere between 13 and 1,500 kiddos in chess instruction from kindergarten to 8th grade mostly. We run monthly scholastic tournaments where they get a chance to compete against each other, which is cool because we usually see 100, 150 kids at the tournaments. And then we run summer chess club camps that we're now going to be running in the springs as well. And then the cool thing, I mean, these are all cool, but the cool new thing is we're starting 8 new what we're calling PALS homeschool chess clubs. And these are going to be geographically specific to Boulder, Golden, Colorado Springs, Denver, etc. We run them at libraries, churches, and rec centers. And this is a chance for the homeschool market to bring their kiddos to something that's in person,
Mhm.
get at chess instruction, but also have supervised play. All of our chess coaches are what we call PALS certified because we have this certification program they have to go through to qualify them. And then they're all background checked, of course, and they supervise that event. And so it's not just for homeschoolers. If there's a kiddo that's at a public school that doesn't have a club and loves to play, they could also participate. But these are all launching in April, and you can go to palschess.com to get all the rest of the information about the clubs and how to sign up. And then we're doing so that's all this happens while Griffin and Sully, his younger brother, while we try and work out trips for them to go play professionally. Sullivan is trying to become a grandmaster. Griffin just wants to stay a competitive national master still and maybe go higher. So the boys are both going on monthly chess tournaments to Philadelphia, um, oh gosh, St. Louis, all over the country. But one thing we just found out about, which is super, super cool, there is a world chess championship for people with physical disabilities. And Griffin, because of his brain surgery, he has what we call a helper hand. He can't use his right hand. He calls it the claw, and he walks with a brace. He definitely meets the disability definition. So he's going to be going to Armenia to play in a chess tournament, which is really cool because right before COVID, Griffin got invited to a tournament in Turkey, Ankara, Turkey, and he went and played. He won all his games. He was given a computer and this huge trophy because he was the only person at this invite only event to win all his games. And now he's going to Armenia, which is a country that's a bitter rival of Turkey's and about 1,000 miles away to play in yet another tournament. And his favorite part, he could tell you more about this, is that they're doing the tournament at a place called the Black Fortress. So he's going to play in like this weird castle that they're calling the Black Fortress. Anyway, he's going in July to compete for the World Championship for chess players with disabilities.
Oh, this is amazing. And, this sounds like something that can happen for your homeschooler or for your any student,
Anybody.
yeah. And so national competitions and state level competitions and all kinds of
Yeah,
different opportunities open up.
yeah.
Well, I'm going to bring Griffin on now, and we're going to talk a little more about all of the things that he is doing. Welcome, Griffin. It is so great to have you here.
Thank you.
I bet you're excited about Armenia.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Now, you are doing some other things besides these wonderful, amazing tournaments, and your story was amazing, by the way. But why don't you tell me a little bit about the nonprofit that you started?
Yeah. So this nonprofit is called ChessAbilities Inc. And we're this whole nonprofit is about to raise money for people who have disabilities. Now there's for one example is there's um, the chess Olympian, which is the world champion, those kind of things, and they usually have that happen every 2 years. With that, there's a para Olympian, which is basically Olympian with disabilities, that was supposed to happen in 2020, but because of COVID, it didn't happen. So um, the Paralympian is supposed to happen this upcoming September, and we're trying to raise money for, to get, people with disabilities to come and play at the Paralympiad. And so we're just trying to use that as a motivator as best as possible.
That's great. So then are the kids that have disabilities are then they then taught through the PALS Chess Club as well?
Yes.
Okay. That's great. And then when they do that, then they can accomplish some of the same things that you've enjoyed.
Yes. Everyone, I love teaching, obviously, but I always love, saying, okay, you can do it. Anyone can do it. They just have to, work hard and have fun with it, right?
Yes. Now you are also a coach
Mm-hmm.
at the PALS Chess Club as well.
Yes.
And tell me, I remember your dad telling me a little bit about this, but tell me what it's like when you're trying to encourage some of these kids to, be part of the PALS Chess Club.
I've been doing teaching chess for many, many years, and I always uh, you know, motivate kids to say, look, you can have fun. Chess is not a boring game. It's a fun game. It's a lot of ways you can make it fun, right? But if you want to just work hard again, I wanted to become a national master for more than 8 years, and but I got it, right? But it took me a while,
Uh-huh.
right? But I had fun with it. I always try to, study and a lot of things that, if kids want to do that, they can, right? But if they don't, that's also fine. Just want to have, a balance, from having fun to, all the kinds of things, right?
Yeah. So when you are really encouraging these kids, I've heard that you set up sometimes several chess sets and play against them. What is
Yes.
that like?
It's fun. It makes the kids happy,
Good.
right?
Yeah. So that is fun. What is the North American Chess Camp for children with disabilities like?
Um, the North American Chess Camp for people with disabilities is a camp that I created to help people with disabilities to get accommodations. Accommodations. Oh, saying it wrong.
Accommodations?
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. One of those things. Because because I go out of state, I get frustrated because you know the things that I need are not met. And so what I'm trying to accomplish is for people with any type of disabilities, I can try to help them as best as possible to make it, they want to learn chess. Anyone can learn, but with people with disabilities, I want to help them as best as possible so that they can get as much as possible for, learning chess.
That's great. Now, how can listeners connect with you or get involved with the PALS Chess Club?
Um, if you go on the website palschess.com, if you scroll all the way down, you can actually send a message to me. And if you want to look for like homeschool chess clubs, chess camps, it's the same website, palschess.com. Everything's right there.
That's wonderful. Now, um, anybody in the state from the Front Range, all across the Front Range can participate in this?
Hmm.
Colorado Springs all the way up through north of Denver.
Yes.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your insight
Hmm.
and for all that you do, for being a light and also just for being able to encourage other people, even through what you've been through.
Yeah.
You're listening on Power Talk 1040 AM, 98.5 FM, and 95.7 FM. Please like and subscribe to Power Talk 1040 on YouTube. I want to thank our sponsors, Inspirational Homeschooling and the Huntington Learning Center, for bringing this show to you.